Alright guys, now we're going to look at the different ways you can use forms. Okay, in the actual training that we did something called a status of the class. Okay, and this is something that I did to use to gather data and feedback from my participants. And this is something that you can use in your classroom also. So I just kind of asked what building they taught in, how comfortable they are with Google Forms, what do they know about Google Forms, and those kind of things. Okay. And whenever you have a form, it goes ahead and dumps into a spreadsheet. So I'm going to go ahead and find my spreadsheet. Okay, and the spreadsheet will normally be titled with the name of your form, and in the parentheses it'll have responses. Okay, so now I have all of my data here of people that came to the training. And now, once I click on Form and go to Summary, Show Summary of Responses, now I have some really good data on my participants. I could tell that most of them came from the middle school, and then most of them have never ever used a form before. Okay, so this is something that you can also use with your students to kind of gauge their knowledge on a topic before you teach it to them. Okay, one thing I also asked, what do you want to know about Google Forms? So I got some really good information on what my students needed to learn. Alright, so why do we use Google Forms? Well, we use Google Forms to help us collect and analyze data very quickly, and they just save a huge amount of time. They'll save you hours and hours of grading and sorting and trying to get all your data in one spot. Okay, so we're first going to look at different types of forms that you can use for assessment purposes. Okay, so this Safe to Speak form, this is a form that you can use if you wanted to get some data on a behavior situation or an incident that happened. When I click on this, it's going to take me to what's called a template. So Google has kind of like a Promethean Planet aspect to it, where people have already pre-made forms and slideshows and things like that, and then they've submitted them as a template so that other people can access them and use them. So it's very similar to how there are already flip charts pre-made in Promethean Planet. So I'm going to click on Use this template. Okay, and this will give me the spreadsheet. And then when I click on Form and go to Live Form, there I can see what the actual form looks like. And I can see it's all about behavior, so who's causing the problem, who's the victim, things like that. Okay? And what that does, that really allows you to collect your data and have it on one concise spreadsheet. And then using that summary of responses option that we saw before, it'll automatically make those amazing pie graphs and bar graphs for you. That way you have your data all in a very nice pretty format ready to go in case you need to share it with parents or administrators. Okay, one thing also that you can do is you can go ahead and share, you can create and put pictures into your Google Forms. So this is an example of a teacher that took a super teacher worksheet and then put it onto a Google form. And the reason that you would do this is because, and we'll show you in a little bit, there's a little add-on that you can get called Flubaroo, which will grade your multiple choice type answers for you. So this will save you a lot of grading time for just to do something that you're already used to using. Okay, this would be more like of a check for understanding example. So this teacher was working on different kinds of sentences. Okay, and you can see here that what she did was she just put different questions about the types of sentences that she wanted students to understand. Okay, and so again, students would submit this, and then she could have Flubaroo go ahead and just grade it for her automatically. Okay, this would be a good example of peer editing. Excuse me. So if you use peer editing in your class, this would be a really good way to have your students a structured way for your students to go ahead and edit that work. Okay, so it gives them a format to use, and it dumps all of their work into one spreadsheet for you. That way you're no longer having to carry around big stacks of paper home or trying to sort through paper or worry about losing it. It'll all just be in one nice electronic spreadsheet. Okay, so some questions here they have are, which sentence did you like best in the composition? Why did you choose this sentence, etc. Okay, so daily reading log, same thing. Instead of having students do a paper reading log, I would encourage you to have your students do a digital reading log. They can log up their minutes at home, or if they don't have internet access, this can be a link that you have on your school desktops, and they can do it right when they come into school each morning. Okay, again, saving them time because you're not having to print them out reading logs or not having to track down their reading logs. They've lost it in their locker or their backpack. Okay, it's all in one spot. Okay, the other thing that you can do is you can insert videos into your Google Forms. So if you think back to our teacher laptop module, that is an example of how there can be videos inserted in there. And with this, you can really have your whole entire assignment in one Google form. Okay, this one shows an example of how you can put pictures and videos in there, and then have corresponding questions that go with each one. Okay, this next idea is called branching. Okay, this is a really good way to differentiate your instruction. Okay, so the example that we have here is a choose your own adventure story. So what it does is branching will take a student to a page based on their answer. So this one says Jeff is 17 and a senior in high school. What path do you think he should choose? So if he were to click on this he should go to college, it will take him to one page. If he were to click on he should not go to college, it would take him to a different page. Okay, so choose your own adventure is kind of a concrete way of trying to understand it, but there's a lot of good ways you can actually use it in your classroom. So if you think about using Google Forms and creating your own, kind of like an NWA, so like a math teacher at the middle school, for example, he's going to go ahead and have different math problems here. If they answer it incorrectly, he's going to have it take them to a page where they are going to have some lower level problems. If they answer this one correctly, then it's going to take them to a page where they're going to have some higher level problems. Okay, so you can really differentiate your forms, which is amazing. Okay, and when you're using assessment with forms, you can always have it shuffle that question order. That way students aren't likely to cheat. Okay, and Flubaroo, which we'll walk through a little bit later, this is an add-on that will grade your answers for you, which is super nice. Okay, so that is how you can use some forms for assessment. Thanks so much.